Listen closely, because this is the turning point. Right now, you're living inside a box called identity. It's the invisible force that dictates what you think is possible for you, what risks you'll take, and even how much love, success, and happiness you allow yourself to experience. Here's the truth. Your identity is not fixed, it's chosen. Most people try to change their habits, their goals, or their routines, but they don't realize the deeper problem. They're still operating from the same identity that created the old results. If you keep telling yourself, I'm not disciplined, I'm not confident, I'm not that type of person, guess what? You'll find every excuse to prove yourself right, but the moment you shift your identity, everything changes. Think about it. When someone quits smoking for good, it's not because they try really hard. It's because they finally say, I'm not a smoker anymore. That new identity drives every decision. So how do you master your state? Start with your body, change your breathing, move with power, stand tall. Your physiology sends a direct signal to your brain that says, I'm in charge. From there, speak a new story. I am disciplined. I am confident. I am unstoppable. Repeat it, live it, prove it with small actions every single day. Identity shapes behavior, and this is one of the most powerful principles that determines the quality of our lives. Most people believe that their habits, decisions, and results are separate from their identity, but in truth, everything we consistently do is a reflection of who we believe we are. If someone has the identity of a leader, they will naturally make decisions, take action, and speak with authority even when they're uncertain. If someone carries the identity of a victim, they will unconsciously find reasons to remain powerless, to blame circumstances, or to hesitate when opportunities show up. Identity is like the invisible script running the show behind the curtain. You may consciously want success, health, or growth, but if your unconscious identity is saying, I'm lazy, I don't deserve this, or I'm not that kind of person, then your behaviors will always align with that identity instead of your goals. Consider the difference between someone trying to lose weight by saying, I'm on a diet, versus someone who simply says, I am a healthy person. The first identity is fragile, temporary, and rooted in effort. The second is powerful, permanent, and rooted in being. When you see yourself as a healthy person, you don't have to constantly battle over every decision. The question isn't, should I eat this or not? Because your identity already answers it. A healthy person chooses differently without willpower because their choices are aligned with who they are at the core. This shows us that identity does not just influence behavior, it dominates it. The reason identity is so powerful is because the human brain seeks consistency. We want to remain congruent with how we see ourselves. If someone believes I'm not good at speaking, every time they get an opportunity to present, they will sabotage or hold back, not because they can't develop the skill, but because their identity won't allow it. On the other hand, someone who says I'm a communicator will push themselves to practice, to speak up, and to improve even if they stumble, because their identity demands consistency with that belief. Behavior is the surface expression, but identity is the root system underneath it. This is why so many people struggle to maintain change. They try to force new behaviors while holding on to the same old identity. A person might set a goal to go to the gym 3 times a week, but if their identity is still, I'm not athletic, they'll drag themselves through the motions for a while and then stop. Real change only happens when identity shifts. When they say, I am an athlete, the behavior of training becomes natural because it is consistent with who they are. Identity transformation makes growth sustainable. The good news is that identity is not fixed, it's chosen. Every single day, consciously or unconsciously, we reaffirm who we believe we are. The stories we tell ourselves, the words we use, the people we surround ourselves with, all of these reinforce our identity. If you want to change your behavior, you must begin with the story you tell yourself about who you are. Ask yourself, who do I need to become in order to achieve the results I want? That question shifts the focus away from just doing more toward being more. Think of the most successful people in any field. Their identity leads their behavior, An entrepreneur who sees themselves as a problem solver doesn't stop when obstacles appear. They see challenges as part of who they are to solve. A student who says, "I am a learner," approaches every situation as an opportunity to grow, even when they fail. It's not about pretending or faking. It's about consciously shaping an identity that aligns with your highest potential. When you shift your identity, you immediately influence the standards you hold yourself to. If your identity is, "I'm someone who never quits," then discipline is no longer a debate, it's automatic. You don't tolerate giving up because it doesn't align with who you are. If your identity is, "I'm a leader," you show up differently in conversations, in decision making, and in moments of uncertainty. Your words change, your body language changes, your energy changes, all because your identity has shifted. Ultimately, your identity is the thermostat of your life. No matter how much you achieve, if your identity is set at a lower level, you'll find a way to return there. But if you raise your identity, your behaviors will rise to match it. The secret is to start declaring, embodying, and reinforcing the identity of the person you want to be, even before the results show up. The actions will follow because identity shapes behavior every single time. Your emotional and mental state is the hidden driver behind everything you do. Every decision, every action, and every reaction is influenced first by the state you are in at that moment. When you feel confident, energized, and focused, you perform at your best almost effortlessly. When you feel drained, anxious, or doubtful, even simple tasks feel monumental. The key to mastering your life is learning to control your state, because your state dictates your results long before your strategy, knowledge, or skill do. Most people spend their lives reacting to their state rather than controlling it, allowing moods, circumstances, and external events to shape their performance. But the truth is, state is not something that happens to you, it's something you create. You can learn to deliberately shift your energy, focus, and emotional intensity to operate at your peak, even in challenging circumstances. State is created through a combination of physiology, focus, and language. The way you move your body sends signals to your brain, influencing your emotions and mindset. Breathing deeply and rhythmically, standing tall, and adopting confident postures trigger a sense of power and clarity. Conversely, slouched positions, shallow breathing, or tense muscles signal stress and uncertainty. Focus, the second component, shapes what you experience. Where you place your attention determines the story you tell yourself about the world and your ability to handle it. By deliberately focusing on empowering thoughts, solutions, and possibilities, you steer your state toward confidence, resilience, and determination. Finally, the words you speak, both to yourself and others, reinforce your state. Language is more than communication, it is programming. Saying, "I can handle this," or "I am ready," changes your internal experience in a way that thinking alone cannot. Shifting your state is not just about temporary motivation. It is about creating a sustainable mental and emotional foundation for action. Athletes, performers, and leaders know that their results are inseparable from their state. They do not rely solely on skill or knowledge. They prime themselves before stepping into any high-stakes situation. You can do the same. Every time you face a challenge, consciously choose the state you want to inhabit. Decide to bring energy instead of fatigue, focus instead of distraction, confidence instead of doubt. Even small adjustments in posture, breathing, and self-talk accumulate into profound changes over time. Your state also influences the people around you. Emotions are contagious. When you operate from a high, energy, positive, and resourceful state, you elevate everyone in your environment. Leaders who understand state mastery can inspire action, motivate teams, and turn obstacles into opportunities simply by modeling the energy they wish to see. The moment you realize you can control your internal state, you take back the power that most people unconsciously give to circumstances, other people, or past failures. Ultimately, mastering your state is about reclaiming control over your life. It is the bridge between who you are today and who you want to become. You can't always control what happens outside of you, but you can control how you respond, how you feel, and how you act. By learning to intentionally shift your state, you unlock the ability to perform consistently at a high level, achieve your goals faster, and create the life you desire. Mastering your state is the ultimate tool for empowerment because it is the foundation upon which identity, behavior, and destiny are built. Every action becomes easier, every decision becomes clearer, and every challenge becomes an opportunity when you take charge of your state. Your physiology is not just a reflection of how you feel. It is a primary driver of how you think, how you act, and ultimately, what you achieve. Every posture, every gesture, every movement sends signals to your brain, programming your emotional and mental state. When you stand tall, breathe deeply, and move with purpose, you communicate to your mind that you are powerful, capable, and ready to take action. Conversely, when your body slouches, your shoulders droop, and your movements are slow or tense, your brain interprets those signals as stress, doubt, and limitation. Understanding this connection gives you a tool that few people consciously use, the ability to instantly shift your state and your performance by changing your body. This is not about pretending or faking confidence. It's about leveraging the mind-body connection to align your internal state with the person you want to become. Athletes, speakers, and leaders around the world use physiology to enter peak performance states before every critical moment. Simple actions like pacing with purpose, raising your chin, opening your chest, or taking a series of strong, deliberate breaths can elevate your energy, clarity, and courage in seconds. Small changes repeated consistently create massive effects. The body becomes the gateway to mastering your emotions and your decisions. When you understand that physiology drives psychology, you stop waiting for motivation to arrive externally. Motivation is fleeting and unreliable, but your body responds immediately to deliberate action. You can choose to move in ways that signal confidence, readiness, and enthusiasm, and your mind will follow. This principle also applies to daily habits. The way you start your morning, the way you sit at your desk, the way you interact with others, all of it sends messages to your brain that either reinforce the identity you want or the identity you're trying to escape. By controlling your physiology, you control the internal climate that shapes your performance, behavior, and ultimately your results. It's not just about individual actions. Your physiology sets the tone for your entire day. When you consciously use your body to trigger positive states, you are programming yourself to handle challenges, make better decisions, and engage with life at a higher level. Think about someone who enters a room with energy, eye contact, and an upright posture. They instantly command respect and attention. Their presence is felt because their physiology signals power and engagement. You can create that same effect for yourself every day. This principle also extends to emotional mastery. Emotions are not random. They are physiological states expressed through the body. Anxiety tightens muscles and shortens breathing. Confidence opens posture and deepens rhythm. By changing your body first, you create the conditions for emotional and mental states to follow. This is how leaders and performers manage fear, pressure, and uncertainty. They manipulate their physiology to access courage, focus, and clarity. The moment you embrace physiology as a tool for state mastery, you reclaim control over one of the most overlooked drivers of success. You are no longer at the mercy of moods, stress, or external circumstances. Every breath, every movement, every gesture becomes a lever to elevate your performance, influence your outcomes, and transform your life. Master your physiology, and you master your psychology. Master your psychology, and you master your destiny. This is the hidden shortcut that separates those who react to life from those who create it. The beliefs you hold are the foundation of your identity, and they silently govern every choice, action, and reaction in your life. Every behavior, every pattern, and every outcome is ultimately a reflection of what you believe about yourself, your capabilities, and what you deserve. If you believe that success is for other people, not for you, then your actions, often unconsciously, will align with that belief, creating a self-fulfilling prophecy. On the other hand, if you hold empowering beliefs that you are capable, resilient, and deserving, your behaviors naturally reflect those convictions, opening doors that once seemed closed. Beliefs are not just abstract ideas, they are the invisible programming of your identity, and they either liberate you or limit you depending on their quality. The challenge is that most beliefs are formed early in life or through repeated experiences, often without conscious examination. Many people walk through life operating on outdated or false beliefs about themselves, their potential, and the world around them. These limiting beliefs silently restrict growth, block opportunities, and create frustration. To shift your identity, you must first identify and confront the beliefs that no longer serve you. Ask yourself, which stories am I telling myself that hold me back? Which assumptions am I making that limit what I believe is possible? Once these beliefs are recognized, you can actively replace them with empowering beliefs that align with the person you want to become. Belief change is not about wishful thinking. It is about consistent reinforcement through experience, language, and action. When you act in ways that challenge your limiting beliefs, even small successes accumulate and gradually transform what you know to be true about yourself. For example, someone who believes they are incapable of public speaking can start with small presentations, receive feedback, and recognize their growth. Each action reinforces a new belief: I am capable of communicating effectively. Over time, this new belief becomes part of their identity, and what once felt impossible becomes natural. Beliefs also interact with your emotional state and physiology. When you hold empowering beliefs, your state elevates. You feel confidence, energy, and focus. When beliefs are disempowering, you feel doubt, fear, or inertia. The combination of empowering beliefs and deliberate physiological practices compounds your ability to master your state and behavior. This shows why belief work is not just mental. It is a holistic process involving mind, body, and emotion. Your environment and social influences play a critical role in shaping beliefs. Surrounding yourself with people who reflect the beliefs you want to adopt accelerates transformation, while toxic or limiting environments reinforce old, unhelpful patterns. Language also reinforces belief. The words you speak to yourself and others are a form of constant programming. Saying, I am capable, I can handle this, or I deserve success, repeatedly rewires your brain to accept these truths as part of your identity. Ultimately, beliefs are the blueprint for identity. To change your life, you must consciously choose which beliefs to cultivate and which to discard. By adopting beliefs that support growth, resilience, and empowerment, you shift your identity and, consequently, your actions and results. Beliefs are not passive. They are active, living constructs that shape every moment of your existence. When you master your beliefs, you master your identity, and with it, the power to create a life that reflects your highest potential. Your environment is far more powerful than most people realize. It silently shapes your thoughts, emotions, and behaviors every single day. The people you surround yourself with, the spaces you inhabit, the media you consume, and even the routines you follow send continuous messages about what is possible and what is acceptable in your life. If you spend your time in environments that reinforce fear, doubt, or limitation, your identity will unconsciously conform to those signals, no matter how much you try to change through willpower alone. On the other hand, if you immerse yourself in environments that elevate, inspire, and challenge you, your identity begins to expand naturally, and your actions align effortlessly with the person you want to become. Most people underestimate the degree to which environment drives their state and identity. We often blame ourselves for lack of progress, thinking it is purely about discipline or talent, when in reality, our surroundings are silently reinforcing our old patterns. A single negative conversation, a cluttered space, or constant exposure to pessimistic media can subtly keep you locked in a mindset of limitation. Conversely, environments that are aligned with growth, supportive mentors, inspiring communities, and organized, energizing spaces create a fertile ground for transformation. Changing your environment is often the quickest and most effective lever for shifting your identity. Your environment does not just affect your mindset, it impacts your daily habits and routines. Small cues in your surroundings trigger automatic behaviors that either serve or sabotage your goals. For example, seeing junk food on the counter reinforces old eating habits, while placing healthy options within easy reach encourages better choices. Hearing constant complaints or excuses from peers reinforces a victim identity, while surrounding yourself with proactive, ambitious individuals naturally elevates your standards. Every element of your environment sends signals to your brain about what is normal, acceptable, and achievable. Intentionality is key. You must consciously design your environment to reflect the identity you want to embody. This can involve curating your social circle, creating physical spaces that energize you, limiting exposure to negative influences, and incorporating cues that reinforce the habits and mindset you desire. Even subtle changes, repeated consistently, compound over time to produce dramatic results. Environment is not a passive backdrop, it is an active partner in your transformation, shaping what you think, how you feel, and ultimately how you act. The people you interact with are particularly influential. Emotions, beliefs, and behaviors are contagious. When you spend time with individuals who are empowered, disciplined, and growth-oriented, their mindset and energy naturally influence yours. If you are surrounded by negativity, hesitation, or complacency, those states become easier to adopt. Forming individuals intentionally seek out communities that reflect the values, goals, and identity they aspire to, because they understand that social context is a shortcut to personal transformation. Every detail of your environment, sounds, sights, routines, and relationships reinforces your identity whether you are aware of it or not. By consciously shaping your surroundings to support the person you want to become, you remove friction, create momentum, and accelerate growth. Mastery of your environment is mastery of your life. It is the hidden framework that either limits or liberates you. When your surroundings align with your highest potential, every decision, every action, and every moment becomes an opportunity to reinforce your new identity and move closer to the life you desire. Change begins with a decision, and the most powerful decision you can ever make is the decision to become someone new. Most people wait for the perfect moment or the right conditions to change their life, but the truth is that waiting is a trap. Real transformation happens the moment you decide to no longer accept the limitations of your past identity and commit to a new one. This is not about temporary motivation or short-term effort. It is about making a declaration to yourself that you are stepping into a new standard, a new way of being, and a new destiny. Decisions shape identity, and identity shapes behavior. Every action you take after that decision is a reflection of who you have chosen to become. The power of decision is magnified when it is reinforced by action. Deciding alone is not enough. You must take steps, however small, that align with your new identity. Each choice becomes evidence of your transformation, reinforcing the belief that you are capable of sustaining this change. For example, deciding to be disciplined means following through on commitments even when it is uncomfortable. Deciding to be a learner means seeking knowledge consistently, practicing, and embracing challenges. Each aligned action strengthens the new identity, making it automatic and resilient over time. Decisions without action are wishes. Actions without identity are inconsistent. True transformation requires both. Making a decision also requires clarity about who you want to become. The question is not simply, what do I want to achieve, but who must I become to achieve this? This subtle shift in focus moves you from goal-oriented thinking to identity-oriented thinking. Instead of chasing outcomes through effort alone, you begin to embody the person who naturally produces those results. When you identify as a high performer, a healthy person, a confident communicator, or a leader, your behaviors, choices, and focus naturally align with that identity. Decisions anchored in identity are far more powerful than decisions based on desire alone because they are reinforced at the deepest level of who you are. Consistency is the bridge between decision and transformation. One decision, even a powerful one, is not enough if it is not supported by repeated, aligned actions. Each day, each moment, and each choice is an opportunity to reinforce the identity you have claimed. Over time, these choices compound, creating an unshakable standard for who you are. This is how extraordinary individuals create lasting change, not through sporadic effort, but through consistent decisions and actions that reflect their new identity. Decisions also redefine your relationship with challenges and setbacks. Once you have decided to become someone new, obstacles are no longer threats. They are opportunities to demonstrate your new identity. A person who has decided to be resilient views difficulties as tests of their strength and character, not as reasons to quit. This mindset shift is critical because it transforms every challenge into fuel for growth rather than a justification for remaining small or limited. Ultimately, the act of deciding is an act of claiming power. You stop being a passive observer of your circumstances and become the active creator of your life. Every decision to align with your desired identity rewires your brain, strengthens your behaviors, and transforms your destiny. The moment you decide to step fully into a new identity, to act consistently with that choice, and to reinforce it through repeated actions, you unlock the secret to mastering your state and creating a life that reflects your highest potential. Your destiny is not determined by the past, your environment, or luck. It is determined by the decisions you make today and the identity you choose to embody in every moment.